Hey guys, Jay Hoyt here. Before this video gets started, I just want to say thank you guys for all of the support across every single one of our platforms. We just hit 120 followers on Twitch, 100 followers over on Twitter, but the lone goal still remains here on YouTube. Can we push for that 200 subscriber mark? We're only 5 subs away, but we got another banging video for you today. We're dropping bombs here on Nuketown. What's going on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you today. Welcome back to some Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. We're dropping some 80 bombs here on Nuketown Hardpoint. So if you do enjoy that, make sure you hit that like button down below. As you see in the title, is the CDL expanding? And there's a possibility of it. There's been some articles that have come out that are saying, hey, there's some teams that are interested. What are we saying? That they possibly could be expanding. So I kind of wanted to break down some of these cities and kind of want to, throw out some just cities out there or places that could potentially hold a CDL team upcoming here. So there's a lot of teams obviously that didn't get the spot initially. And, that's frustrating for, teams that, have always been a brand and has always been part of the scene that, went into franchising and then didn't get their roster going forward. But if there's going to be an expansion on the horizon, how many teams do you think should be in the league? So let's just start off with, when you look at traditional sports, you have obviously a lot more players and a bigger player base to where they're basically all going to be around 32 teams. So that means 16 teams per conference. Usually there's 4 divisions per math. It all works out. But in the case of Call of Duty, you don't want to expand that big. But I think either 16 teams, so currently they're at 12. I think either expand to 16. So either have 16 teams or even 20. Now, I know that's a weird number. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want them to expand the league so big that it's like impossible for some players to ever make it. But then you could also, once you go into a tournament, right? If you have 24 teams or even 32 teams, you could somehow bring the amateur scene or the challenger scene into those tournaments, once we get back to LAN, and potentially have a big old tournament where these AM teams can compete and play against these pro teams. And it's not going to be like before where they just walk right through, like the pro teams all just walk right through the amateurs. Like the amateur scene is good. Is very good and actually creates some really good matches. But in order to get to a higher number, we got to talk about some cities. So this one article from Esports Observer says there's 4 different markets, I believe, that they're talking about. First out of those ones being Las Vegas. Obviously, them just getting a hockey team is huge for the area. Could I see the Vegas Golden Knights getting involved in that, potentially trying to buy a franchise and potentially making a new team? That could be likely because this organization is pretty, ahead of the time. Like they're on social media all the time, posting everything. The way they respond online, the way they talk to their fans. Even at the game nights in the arena is like crazy. Like they're so ahead of more of the other teams. It's actually pretty crazy. So I could definitely see them getting a team there and potentially, growing out, more than just hockey out there in Vegas. Personally, I'd almost be a fan just because if Vegas, the Golden Knights were to get involved, I'm already a Vegas fan. So it would definitely help out there. Our second team on the list is Washington, D.C. Obviously, you're surrounded by some big sports nations, so you can potentially have some influence from them. It's a big enough area. I don't know who exactly would invest in that, but it could be a potential area. Our third one, though, Charlotte. I think that's North Carolina, if I remember correctly. I believe the TK organization was based out of somewhere in Carolina, or I think it was Charlotte. So potentially TK returning to the scene. But the biggest one that I wanted to talk about is Spain. Now, if you guys don't remember Heretics, right? This team was a Spanish team that came up, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but they came up, performed really well, made it into the pro league, and looked really good at times. Like, they were considered one of the best, like, amateur teams at the time. And then now with franchising, they kind of just kind of disappeared, and they all kind of went back to Spain, I think. Like, I don't exactly remember, you know, where most of those guys are now, but if you could put together the 4 best Spanish players with a Spain audience, I believe they have a huge fan base over there, almost, you know, rivaling the UK, where you're gonna have a very passionate group behind them that would support them like crazy, right? They already have a big Spanish brand, so it's not like they're just gonna come out of nowhere and just be like, hey, here's our brand, support it because you're all from Spain. Like, they already have a brand with one of the biggest streamers in the world right now. I think his name is Greg. I might be wrong about that one. But then they already have previous experience in Call of Duty to where they would have that fan base still behind them. And plus, a lot of people were cheering for them because they kind of came out of nowhere and surprised a lot of people. Then one of the other ones I heard early on was Detroit, but I haven't really seen any more coming from that situation. But again, that could be a huge market. You know, obviously the Detroit Red Wings, you got the Detroit Lions, what do you got? Michigan football. I mean, you got a ton of sports teams around that could, you know, definitely influence a team from Detroit. I know, who was it? Pac-Man, I believe, joined some team that was based out of Detroit. So potentially that could have been in the works. If there's a possible expansion coming, then they might be working on trying to put in a bid saying, hey, we already got all of our stuff here, you know, pick us. But of course, there's always going to be that price tag, $25 million. To get into the league, and obviously it's through a whole, you know, approval process, but potentially another market. But our last, not really team, like I don't have a city for this one, but I would definitely love to see another team out of the UK. And I know there's not a lot of European players that really play at the highest level, but the support behind the fans there is incredible. Now, the fact that they only have one team there out of London is pretty crazy. Now, I don't know what other city, like I'm not too familiar with the UK. I know obviously there's some sports teams over like soccer or football, I guess you'd call it. But other than them, what other city would you put out there? And obviously there's probably some that I'm forgetting, but definitely that could be something that you could look at as a European-based organization over there. I should say franchise. I definitely like to see another one over there. Obviously, with the fan base and all the events that we have over there, obviously they've been like crazy. So I definitely love to see that one. But with all that being said, guys, let me know down in that comment section below, what city would you like to see join this CDL, a potential brand you'd like to see, you know, that was previously in Call of Duty coming back now in with franchising. You know, who would like to see you hook up and kind of make a team? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button if you haven't yet, or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below. But as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.